Gene X. What is this thing even supposed to be? So this is probably one of the most fascinating EXEs out there, and for good reason. Why is that? Well, I'll be going into that, so let's talk about Gene X, whatever this thing is supposed to be. So when it comes to Gene X or Jesse, which is their actual name, there isn't really much of a story to them. In fact, you kind of have to piece it together, which I actually kind of like. But the wiki does explain that she is a yandere type character, which I don't really like. I'll explain later, but basically she was overly obsessed with her best friend and after dying decided to just trap them in Sonic Generations. Basically just a cat and mouse chase, and a bunch of the characters in the game are just puppets. So, that's kind of cool. And that's basically it. The story is just pretty simple. I will definitely be getting into my attempt at explaining the actual story later. But let me just say, somebody finally did it. Somebody finally decided to use a modern Sonic game as a template for an X story. Which, why are people so afraid of doing that? Well, I'm not going to say they're afraid. They're probably more nostalgic for the older games, but I wish more people decided to use the modern games for horror stories. You can find a way to make Sonic Colors scary. In fact, I think I'm gonna just save this for another video. Now, I do definitely dig the idea of seeing an EXE originating from Sonic Generations, but what I don't like is the fact that, well, they're a yandere, and you might think, oh, that's kinda stupid. Well, there's a deeper reason to it. I don't even know if this is a part of their story anymore, but it feels like a copy and paste of one of Erick's other characters. Which one? Elizabeth. It feels way too similar to her story. They're both a little bit different from each other, but basically, Jenny is just Elizabeth, but if she was repurposed to be a Sonic.exe OC. I just don't really like it all that much, but I do dig the whole Generations aspect. It's probably been changed, but I don't really know if it has been, so I can only just say, not the biggest fan of it. I do definitely dig seeing Sonic Generations be used in an X story, but I'm just not the biggest fan of Jenny being a yandere, just like another Erick character. Also, I just gotta bring this up, I love how every Erick character has died in some sort of tragic car accident. If I had a nickel for every time an Erick Animations character died in a tragic car accident, I'd have 3 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's surprising it's happened 3 times in a row. So I'm just gonna get into the facts before I get into what my idea of the story is supposed to be. There's not many. There is one mentioning the whole fact of Gene X being the one to inspire Rerun's design. I did actually think for a while that Gene X was supposed to be an early Rerun design, but I was proven wrong. Hey, I'm the same idiot that thought Rerun and Lilith were 2 different characters. But I was also proven wrong with that. There was another fact, but it isn't really all that important, so let's get into my whole idea of what the story of Gene X is supposed to be. So I decided to go back to this video and read the description, and there was something that really stood out to me. Even in your last moments, you couldn't love me as your own daughter. What the hell does this even mean? I don't know, but I'm gonna try to figure it out. So at first, being the moron that I am, I thought, oh, her friend got married, so, she was jealous about that, so after dying, decided to go hunt her entire family down. And then I realized the issues with that and decided to rethink this. So with my second attempt, I'm gonna call it, I think I'm nearly close to what the whole story of this is supposed to be. I know I might be a little bit wrong, but I'm not Matt Pat, he'd know far better than me. But he's gone. So at first, her parents were pretty happy with each other, but then eventually started getting into argument, driving them apart. And I have to guess maybe they were really abusive to their child or neglected them. I want to imagine her mom was in that car accident with her and she survived it. So after all of this, Jenny was fed up with her parents and wanted to kill them, so decided to probably start off with her mom or just eventually kill her dad at some point, basically trying to drive them all back together. But I'm not sure, I'm not Matt Pat. When I do read the description of this, I do get the vibe she was maybe adopted. I'm not sure about that, but for some reason I'm starting to think maybe she got adopted. It could explain whatever this thing is supposed to be, so maybe she was at her parents' wedding, but I think I might have the dates mixed up. And I think her mom was probably pregnant again. I'm not sure, I'm not Matt Pat, but that was my best attempt at trying to piece the story together. If this is the story, which it probably isn't, I honestly dig it far more than the yandere stuff. Just, I don't know, her family being abusive and eventually making it the reason why she wants to kill them, I just like far more than just, she's really obsessed with her best friend and killed them because, why not? Anyways, let's just finally get into her designs. Starting off with the original, I think the whole aspect of this design I like might just be the color scheme. I mean, there's other stuff I like the elongated limbs, the no legs, just there's band-aids there, and the whole thing going on in the eye area. That's basically it. I think I prefer the other one with the necklace far more. But honestly, I like this design far more. It's like cool as hell. This is a good design. Good on you, Eric. You know how to make cool monster designs, and I definitely like this with like this, the legs just being teared up with like the bony area and blood. It's a good design. There's only like 2 more. They're only on paper though. I like this thing, and she looks kind of cool when she was alive, I guess. Though I gotta ask, what is this dude's obsession with tall women? I just realized she's probably the same height as Lilith. Like, what's going on, bro? And that's basically everything. I feel like there was like a lot of stuff I missed for some reason. Like, overall, I think this is like a cool EXE, except if you take out like the Yandere stuff. Not the biggest fan of that, but I kind of like them. They could probably go on my list of like EXEs or something. I did forget to bring up the Chaos Emeralds, which I think are some sort of like source of power or like some sort of metaphor or something, but good on you for adding Chaos Emeralds into an EXE story. A lot of people would be afraid to do that. Anyways, I'm going to end this because I feel like this is getting pretty long. It's like the same length as the raw video I did, so bye everyone. I'll see you in the next video.